What if your plant could actually tell you if it's thirsty or hungry? No more guessing games, no more struggling plants. In this episode, I'm upgrading my plant monitoring prototype and diving deep into the tech that makes it all possible. Last time, I introduced you to Prototype V1, a basic moisture and light sensor. It was a good start, but I wanted more, a lot more. So Prototype V2 is here and it's getting a serious upgrade, featuring an industrial-grade NPK sensor. My initial thought was to piece together individual sensors for moisture, humidity, temperature and NPK. But then I found this. This single sensor does it all: moisture, humidity, temperature, electrical conductivity, and most importantly for me right now, NPK levels. But to truly understand why we need all those readings, let's start with the basics. What do plants actually need to thrive? I like to think about plants as little basic humans. They need to drink, eat, and bathe in the sun. It's really as simple as that at the fundamental level. Water. Water is an essential nutrient for plants, making up to 95% of plant tissue. It's absolutely critical for a seed to sprout, and as the plant grows, water acts as a transport system, carrying all those vital nutrients throughout the plant. Most importantly, it's the core ingredient for photosynthesis, the process where plants make their own food. Second most important thing is light. Again, crucial for photosynthesis, it literally allows the plant to thrive. Every plant has a different light requirement, and this is where it gets tricky. It's so important to consider the light levels in your home before getting a new plant. And a critical point: plants that require shaded places still need access to some sun. Shade for plant often means protection from harsh direct sun, not a dark corner. Temperature. Each and every plant has its own optimal temperature, but most common houseplants thrive around 20 degrees Celsius with a minimum of around 15 degrees. They can survive in different temperatures, but they won't necessarily thrive. Think of it like us trying to sleep in a freezing cold room. We survive, but we don't feel our best. NPK. And finally, a plant's food. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, or in short, NPK. Just like us, different plants need different amounts of this mix, and it even varies depending on the season and climate. But they all like to eat. Nitrogen is mostly responsible for greenery and large leaf growth, so we boost it in the spring when plants are actively growing and minimize it in autumn when they are starting to slow down for dormancy. Phosphorus is the root development guy. It's best to supplement this when you are planting or developing new plants, giving them a strong foundations. Potassium helps plants flower and form fruit. For my current indoor plants, this doesn't matter too much, but for flowering plants or edibles, a balanced diet is always important. So, with those plant needs in mind, let's get back to the prototype. Water is the most basic need, so initially the moisture sensor was my absolute priority. But there is a catch with some plants, like Aventure, aloe or snake plants. They store water in their leaves, so we can't solely rely on the soil moisture readings for them. I haven't quite figured out a sensor solution for them yet, but for now, the easiest way to check is to gently squeeze their leaves. They should be firm, not squishy. After the first prototype, I decided to go all in with a single sensor to rule them all. Yeah, it was more expensive, around 150 zlotys or 30 or 40 euros. But it was the only way to get crucial NPK information. I might go back to the simpler sensors at a later date, but for now, let's focus on the NPK sensor. This NPK sensor introduced a new challenge. It communicates via RS485 and requires a DC power supply from 5 to 30 volts. So, my first challenge was figuring out how to power it from breadboard power supply unit, and then how to decrypt this data by passing it through an RS485 to TTL converter. In short, breadboards have separate power arrays, and you can power both 3.3 volts and 5 volts components at the same time by setting the jumpers on the PSU. Currently, it needs wall power, but for the next iteration I'm planning to move the battery power for true portability. TTL, or transistor-to-transistor logic, is the language microcontrollers speak. Essentially, it sends data as high and low voltage signals, translating into ones and zeros. RS485, on the other hand, is an industrial standard designed for long-distance data transmission, working by differentiating between two voltages, A and B. We need this little converter to translate those differential voltages into the clear ones and zeros our microcontroller can understand. Now, it was a matter of replanting the LCD screen and, of course, coding. I'm leaving the laser sensor idea for future implementation, trying to keep this manageable for now. After some tinkering and a few rewiring sessions, it was surprisingly straightforward to get the code working. I used an ESP32, same as in V1. The biggest challenge now is that I don't have anything to compare those new NPK readings to, so I cannot be completely sure of their accuracy. However, I did cross-check the moisture and pH readings with my existing meter, and they are aligned well, so I'm moving forward for now. So, the sensor works, the data is flowing, but how do we make it truly smart? My next big challenge is figuring out how to tell the device what plant it's measuring. I've got a few ideas here. So option 1, adding a camera. This could be incredibly powerful for so many things. Plant problem shooting, maybe identifying pests or diseases, or even plant recognition using AI. Second, QR codes. On initial setup, the user could input all the plant data and it saves it to a QR code. Then you just scan the QR with the device and it knows exactly what plant it's dealing with. Or my personal favorite, NFC tags. Each plant could have a small dedicated NFC tag. You simply touch the device to the tag and it instantly loads all the pre-configured plant data. Super sleek, super intuitive. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite idea. In the next episode I will be polishing this concept, getting prototype V2 off the breadboard and into a more permanent enclosure. We'll also dive deeper into those plant identification methods. So, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching and happy growing!